The one called Mark Thomas is doing inventory on all our supplies, Simon told me. The sun was beginning to set, and the compound was settling down for the evening. However, the weather was mild, so folks kind of just lingered out in the courtyard, chit-chatting. Little children ran all around. I smiled at Yafa. She was a bundle of energy, running and being chased by the other children. I was glad to see that all the kids mingled well with each other, those from Daweed's group and the ones from the compound. Fat Freddy was strutting his stuff and showing off for a group of girls that laughed at him behind their hands. I shook my head. Poor Freddy didn't know. They were not laughing with him, but at him. They were looking in the fuel tanks earlier, Simon continued. I sat on the bench of a picnic table that was off to the corner of the yard. Simon had one foot on the bench next to me and was leaning towards me so that our conversation was private, although nobody really paid attention to us. Everybody was mixing and mingling. Well, almost everybody. Daweed stood way across the yard underneath a tree talking to the preacher. However, he watched me. I think they are making plans for it, Simon continued. I know they're making plans for it. It may even be the reason why they're here. Simon's eyes raked over my face. No, I don't think that is the reason at all. I turned to look at him. He stood close to me. He always did. I didn't mind that. I was used to having him in my space. Some missions we went on called for us to be cramped into small spaces together all the time. He knew never to touch me, so I was not uncomfortable with his closeness, like I was with most people. What do you mean, Simon? A grin appeared on his handsome face. He's here for you, D. I turned to look back at Daweed. He watched me with narrow eyes. Even from across here, I could see he was angry. I wondered what he was upset about now. Maybe you're wrong, I told him, without looking away from Daweed. Simon still looked only at me. I'm never wrong about one's intentions. And that was true. Simon can size a man up in seconds. It is what made him a value to the agency. He was a human lie detector. Simon read everything about a person. The way they twitched their eyes when they spoke, or the way they held their head, what they were doing with their fingers at the time, how their mouth moved. I shrugged. It don't matter. We will be leaving soon anyway. I turned to look at him. You still coming with me, right? Or are you staying here with your new buddy? I asked, trying to keep the jealousy out of my speech. I don't know why I bothered. Simon saw it anyway. I couldn't help it. Simon was mine. He always was there for me. And earlier today, I saw him with Daweed. They seemed to be conversing with each other real good. Come on, you know better than that, he told me. I nodded. Yeah, I did. If I left, Simon was leaving with me, period. What did the Raven say, he asked. Scott knows I'm alive. He said under his breath. How? Somebody ran my name through the CIA database. She said he doubled the bounty on my head. Damn. What's the plan? I exhaled. I don't know just yet. I need a minute to think about it. We won't get far without that fuel, and there is no way we're going to be able to take it with us. Even if I could, I wouldn't. Simon nodded. We need to go on horseback. Maybe head south, I continued. I sighed. That tiredness I felt before Daweed got here, coming back with a vengeance. I'm tired of running from him, though, I said. You thinking about going after him? That thought was always in my mind. I shrugged. He'll never stop looking for me. I'll be running for the rest of my life. It's a suicide mission, he said. I nodded. Simon spoke the truth. Even if I managed to get through Scott's first line of defense, which would be the best soldiers the United States government had to offer, by the time I made it to his second line, which knowing Scott would be some kind of hybrid super soldier that had been injected with some kind of super serum that made them run faster, jump higher, and not feel much pain. Mush for brains, but steel for arms. And let's just say, by some miracle, I make it past the souped up Mimbos. Scott's third line of defense would be impenetrable. Zeus. His $5 billion personal security guard. On the outside, he looked like a man. He had a heart, a brain, even blood vessels. But underneath his skin was a machine. Biotechnology at its finest. That was 10 years ago. If what the Raven said was true, the government was back up and running better than before the flare hit, then 9 times out of 10, Zeus had a few brothers and sisters. Yafa tottered over to me and collapsed against my leg laughing. Fat Freddy was chasing her, pretending to be a dog. I picked her up and hugged her close. She allowed it for just a minute, before she was squirming out of my arms, ready to keep playing. I kissed her chubby cheeks, both of them, and then put her back on the ground, handing her a piece of the dried apple my Belle gave me for her. I watched her as she ran off squealing at Freddy, as he chased after her on his hands and knees, barking. I looked up at Simon, who was staring down at me as if I had grown a twin out of my head. What? I asked. He chuckled, shaking his head, looking out across the yard. Nothing. It wasn't nothing. Why did you look at me like that? I don't know. I never imagined you in a maternal sense. So used to seeing you split heads. It's nice. I chuckled. Aw, Simon, I didn't know you was a poet. He grunted at me. See, that's why I didn't want to tell you. That made me laugh. And then the hairs rose on the back of my neck. I made eye contact with Dawid, who was now scowling fiercely at me. Everybody that looked at him instantly followed his gaze to me. Which brings me to my next point, Simon said, he too taking in Dawid's stance. I looked away from the scowling man to look up at Simon. Yeah, what's that? He nodded towards Dawid. He's not going to let you go. Oh, you're reciting poetry again, I told him. I chuckled when he scowled down at me. You underestimate him. Look at him. Look at the way he's standing there. He wants to kill me for talking to you, for making you laugh. Look at how he's turned to face us fully. It's almost as if he can hear us. Simon's eyes narrowed as he watched Dawid, who was now looking straight at him. No, D. He ain't never let you go. It was something in Dawid's stance at that moment that made me believe the words that Simon spoke. Well, I don't care what he wants, I told him. I could not help the hesitation in my voice. I was not good at lying to myself. I saw what he was capable of with my own eyes. And when he touched me, my breath hitched in my throat as I remembered what he had done to me a few hours ago. A soft moan came from within me as a tremble shot through my body. I clutched the bench until my knuckles turned white. My goodness, what was happening to me? When I looked up at Dawid, he wore a wicked grin on his face. He sees you as his, D, Simon said softly. I laughed. Goodness, man, listen to yourself. His? Really? He has no claim on me. I am not his wife, his mistress, or his girlfriend. Hell, I'm not even his friend. He has no claim on me. Yafa tottered back to me, this time moving a lot slower than she had earlier. She was tired. I scooped her up in my arms. Are you ready for dinner, little heart? I asked. She nodded. Apple, she said, reaching for another apple slice. If I let you eat any more of those, you're not going to want to eat your dinner. Oh no, she poked out her bottom lip and it began to tremble. Okay, maybe just one. But then we're going up for dinner, I told her, handing her another slice of apple before I stood with her in my arms. I turned to tell Simon goodnight, but the look he wore on his face as he watched me brought me up short. What? I asked. He took his foot down off the bench, standing up straight. You're wrong. He has staked his claim on you. And you may not choose to admit it now, but you're his. Which is good. It means we might just stand a chance against the general. He ruffled Yafa's little brown fluff and then walked away. I watched him go. Simon was wrong. No man had a claim on me. No man ever would. I turned back and looked across the yard at Dawid. He stood there, so powerful. Dressed in all black, he was intimidating. Black cargo pants and a black thermal that lay just right over his strong shoulders, big arms, and well-defined ab muscles. His powerful legs were spread apart. He wore the shoulder holster with the two guns underneath his arm. His hands were in his pocket. When my eyes finally made it back up his magnificent body to his eyes, he winked at me. Shh. I turned to walk into the building. I don't know. I don't know. I think I just might be dealing with something that just maybe I could not handle. Excuse me, Dee. What was that you said yesterday? Cheyenne said as I passed her where she sat on a tree stump on the side of the entrance of the door. He is too young for you? Is that what you said? What were your words? Something like he's just a kid? She shook her head at me, giving me a look of pity. Baby, that man gonna turn you out. I halted at her words, turning to look at her. Brace yourself, boss lady. He getting ready to take you on the ride of your life. You lucky lady. I don't know what you're talking about, Cheyenne, I said, but I quickly walked into the building. I could hear her laughter as I crossed the lobby. Oh man, for some reason, I couldn't shake this feeling that it wasn't Scott I needed to worry about. I watched her cross the yard. Her heart beat rapidly. She was afraid of me, or rather, what it was I made her feel. She made that little breathy sound she made in her throat sometimes. I love that sound. Does she know that she's yours? The preacher asked from where he leaned against the tree. Not yet, but she will before morning. He nodded. That's good. She needs to learn how to put her trust in you. If she goes out there on her own, without your covering, she may not return. I nodded. The fool woman got it in her head that she was going after the general herself, and maybe even get herself killed. I thought about my first wife. She too thought going over my head was no big deal. And look where that got her. But you see, I'll be damned if I let that happen to Deborah. Tonight, she was going to learn who was the boss here. I remember I used to laugh at my old man, when he be having troubles out of my mom. He used to get so frustrated. I thought to myself, that would never be me. I'm gonna give me a nice, quiet wife, an obedient wife. Nothing like Butter Baby LaRue. Now look at me. I'd be a monkey's uncle if my woman ain't worse. I went to the lion's den, I told the preacher. Yeah, me too, he responded quietly. I shook my head. I feel like I let them down, preacher. All of them. He stood. Yah's will be done. No matter what, it will be done. It is futile to believe different. And you know what? I had to find this out the hard way. But your life will go so much smoother when you not only say those words, but believe them to be true. Rather than see him leave, I heard it. He walked into the building and out to the garden area, no doubt going to raid my Bell's veggie patch. It looked like the preacher was going to be around for a while, which was good because he felt like home. I closed my eyes as I listened to Deborah move around the loft. She sucked in her breath in surprise when she spotted the big wooden baby crib that now sat against the far wall, a good distance away from the bed. Then she muttered, "What the world?" when she saw the work that Eugene had done on erecting the 3 walls that will connect to the main wall that will serve as a nursery for Yafa for as long as we're here. Her heartbeat sped up when she realized what that baby crib meant. She warmed up some of that delicious food she made for us for lunch and fed Yafa. Then she bathed her. It sounded like she was doing some kind of exercises. I chuckled because she was coaching Yafa through them. Then she put her to bed and read to her from the scriptures. I don't know. I believe my thoughts on who felt like home was beginning to change. After Yafa drifted off to sleep, I closed the Bible. Dawid's notes were really helping me to understand some things, like Genesis 15:13 through 16. Dr. Gorski had mentioned this same verse to me, but at the time I had no idea what he was talking about. Now that I have read it for myself, it is so clear. Dawid's notes next to it was a bonus. He wrote other scriptures next to it, and when I turned to those scriptures, it helped me to understand it even better. I just read Genesis 40 to Yafa. Dawid jotted down next to this the different ways Joseph's life paralleled with the Messiah's. I thought it was amazing that he studied them so. And now I wondered, after reading about Abraham and how he had taken just 318 house servants and slew a huge army, I mean huge, one that was being led by like 4 or 5 kings. And I compared that with what I had saw Dawid do. It's real. The Bible is real. These stories are real. Even after the doctor exposed who we were, many of us still didn't get serious about our heritage, about our power, about our mighty one. Shortly after the truth came out, the Bible burn had begun. Why didn't we fight harder to hold on to these gems? Why did we never read it? During a time where the world had been flooded with copies of the scriptures. You know, I once prided myself in my smarts. And yet, with all those smarts, I had not been smart enough to open this book and listen to what it had to say to me. If not for Dawid, offering me this one last chance. I might have died, never knowing. I shook my head, standing from the chair I had pulled over to Yafa's new crib. I don't know what I've done to deserve this last chance, but I thank you, Yah, for it. I am going to do my very best not to take it for granted. I placed the Bible on the bed, and I grabbed a pair of sweats and a cami out of my drawer and made my way to the shower. I stood under the hot water and for just a moment enjoyed the feel of it washing over my body. I didn't want to use it all just in case Dawid wanted to shower. When I was done, I got out and I moisturized my skin. Then I undid the long braid I wore and brushed out my hair. When I was done, it looked like a black cloud falling around my shoulders. I left out of the bathroom. I came up short at the sight of Dawid sitting at the table eating the food I had put away for him. "Hey," I whispered, trying to keep the tremble out of my voice. I could not describe what I was feeling right now. Fear? Maybe. Anticipation? Definitely. You see, I wanted him. Dang it, I could no longer lie to myself. I wanted him. He looked so good at my small table, dressed in all black. So big, so strong, so capable. "Hey, beauty," he said, giving me one of those lazy smiles, and those bedroom eyes raked slowly over my body, my neck, my hair, my face. Goodness. "Wow, baby, you look amazing with your hair down." I grinned. "Thanks." He stood, placing his empty plate into the sink. And then I stood there paralyzed as he walked towards me. He leaned down and kissed me on my neck before he sniffed my hair. "Smells like coconuts," he whispered in my ear. "Thank you for putting me some food up. It was really good. I'm going to jump in the shower really quick." He picked up a bag that was on the floor by my bookshelf, then disappeared into the bathroom. I looked to where he had picked up the bag. There were several more there, as well as his sword. I peeked into one of the bags. Yafa's clothes. It looked as if he had moved in. I sat down on my bed, picking up the Bible. I don't know how I felt about that. I was a loner, had always been. I really wasn't the shacking up type, you know what I mean? And if I knew myself, I would be irritated and ready to shoot him within days. The bathroom door opened, and oh my goodness, he walked out in a pair of sweatpants and nothing else. He tossed his bag over to the side. Then he turned the kitchen chair toward me and sat down. "Come here, beauty. I have to talk to you," he said, patting his lap. Okay, I'll bite. I put the Bible away in a little table that was next to my bed, and I came to my feet. Slowly, I approached him. His gaze raked over my body, leaving a trail of fire in his wake. When I made my way to his side, he wrapped his strong hands around my waist and lifted me until I was straddling his lap. "Thank you for saving me some hot water," he said, looking at me through lowered lids that were already wreaking havoc on me. I grinned. "You're welcome." He reached for the string in my sweats, and I sucked in my breath because his big warm hand was so close to my... "You know," he spoke quietly, "I didn't like seeing Simon standing that close to you." "Were you jealous?" I asked. He nodded his head. "I wanted to put a bullet in his head." I folded my arms, and I liked the way that sounded. "Why?" I asked. "Because you're my woman, and the only man you need to be that close to is me." "Oh, hell no." I tried to get up off his lap. He put his hand around my waist, pulling me back down. I slammed back down on his lap. I sucked on my teeth. "Let me go," I said between clenched teeth. The muscle began to tick in his cheek. "I told you, never." "What does that even mean?" I asked, starting to get angry. It means you're mine and I'm yours. That's what that means. I shook my head at him, and although I saw the anger wash over him, I didn't care. No, I began, but then he moved so fast my sentences died in my throat. 1 second we were there sitting, and then he was up, out of the chair, turning me, and then I felt the cold of the wood table underneath my back as he laid me across it. And although he didn't hurt me, he was not all that gentle either. Then he was there, leaning over me. I swung at him, but he caught my hand. Quickly, I swung the other, aiming for his eye. He caught that one too, slamming my hands over my head. When I felt his hardness press up against my softness, the contact stole my breath. And before I could find it again, he was kissing me, robbing me of anything I had left. The kiss was fierce and fervent. I pushed at his hands, trying to free my own. I wanted to touch him, but he wasn't letting my hands go. He was driving me mad with what he was doing to my body with his. I growled at him, breaking the kiss, turning my head, but that only left my neck open for his ravishment. Oh, I was lost. I was lost. There was a fire in me, and only Dawid could put it out. You're mine, he growled in my ear, using his teeth against my neck, before coming back soothing the area with his tongue. I moaned as my toes curled into the wooden table. Dawid, please, I begged. What? What do you want, beauty? He whispered in my ear before taking it in his mouth. Oh, you, I moaned. I want you, please. He kissed me again, and I'm going to stop here. But I think it's important for you to know a few more details, because they changed the path I thought my life was headed. He tortured me on that table till I was willing to do just about anything he wanted, including agreeing that I was his. He made me say it over and over again. You're mine, say it, he whispered in my ear. I'm yours, I moaned. You belong to me, say it. I belong to you. As Yah is your witness, you are my Isha, say it, he growled. As Yah is my witness, I am your Isha.